Of Australia's most iconic patches of landscape, a battle has re-erupted between culture, conservation and cattle. The men who inspired the legendary Man from the Snowy River movie are again riding high, with cattle returning to the country's Alpine National Park after being locked out for 5 years. But while not unexpectedly environmentalists want the animals banished, the federal government is actually taking the higher ground. Emily Rice travelled to the high country to get both sides of this story.
In the Victorian high country, stockmen such as Kevin Higgins are almost part of the scenery. 4 generations of his family have lived and worked in the mountains.
Get up.
He considers himself a cattleman and a custodian of the land.
Oh, it's my life, it's my livelihood. It has been since I was 6 years old. So, yeah, I think when you grow up with something, you want to take care of it the best possible means you can.
Mountain cattlemen have run herds in the Alpine region since the 1800s and were part of the inspiration for the hit Australian film series The Man from Snowy River. Kevin and his crack-riding colleagues shared their skills and starred in many iconic scenes. In real life, the bushmen are battling to keep their heritage alive. 5 years ago, the Victorian Labor government banned cattle from the Alpine National Park, concerned they damaged the delicate environment. Now, on a trial basis, the bovine are back. 400 cattle have been reintroduced into 6 sites across the national park. It's part of a scientific examination into whether the animals decrease the bushfire risk by reducing fuel loads.
And the cattle also are part of the tool in that toolbox to reduce the fuel loads. We've been caring for this country for a long, long time, passing on to our future generations, hopefully, in as good or better condition. With the current management regime, that's not happening.
The cattlemen are convinced that since grazing was banned, bushfires in the area have been more destructive. They fear fuel loads are at dangerous levels.
Devastating almost if you don't have the cattle around to eat it out.
Green groups argue cattle do not cut bushfire risk, and their scientific research shows they trample fragile soils and pollute wetlands.
It's being trashed by cattle now as we speak, and it's one of the few places on Earth where the alpine tree frog hangs out. That's the only place it can survive, and we're sending cattle straight through it.
They want the federal government to stop the trial, which was commissioned by the new Victorian Liberal government as part of an election promise. The Environment Minister is stepping in and investigating if grazing in the heritage-listed park breaks Commonwealth law.
I don't think cattle should be in a national park. I think it's as simple as that.
But the cattlemen are adamant their animals are now a natural part of the alpine environment.
Oh yeah, I think people think, oh, that's done and dusted, you know, but we're still here.
And will fight, so the culture captured on the big screen will be kept alive in the high country.
Tricky.